Welcome to lecture 2 of module 1, basic concepts of number theory and finite fields. Let us start with the modular arithmetic. First, let us see what is meant by modulus. If a is an integer and n is a positive integer, we define a mod n to be remainder when a is divided by n, where integer n is called the modulus. We have already seen from divisibility theorem a is equal to qn plus r, where q is the quotient and r is the remainder, and r is greater than or equal to 0 and less than n. The quotient is got by dividing a by n. So now here in this equation we'll replace q. We know what is q. Q is a by n. So we'll replace by a by n, okay, and n as it is, and plus r. What is r? R is a remainder which is nothing but a mod n. Okay, this is about modulus. So let us just see an example over here. Okay, so what is 11 mod 7? 11 mod 7, how do you get this 4? When we divide 11 by 7, what is the quotient? Quotient is 1, right? What is the remainder then? Remainder is 4. So that is how we get this as 4. Let us take one more example. Same, only change is here. Instead of positive 11, we have minus 11. So minus 11 mod 7 is 3. But how is it 3? Okay, let us see how we get it as 3. It should have been how much? It should have been minus 4, right? When we divide minus 11 by 7, what is the quotient? Quotient is again 1. But what is the remainder? Remainder should be minus 4. But here we are getting minus 3. How is that possible? Let us see. See, we get it as minus 4. Okay, it is correct. But what we do is we add 7 to minus 4 and we get 3. Now this concept will be clear when we see the residues later on. Okay. Now for time being here, how do we get positive 3? Since it is negative, we add the modulus here, n to the mod here. So what do you get? Minus 4 plus 7 is equal to 3. Two integers a and b are said to be congruent modulo n if a mod n is equal to b mod n. This is written as a is congruent to b mod n. Now let us understand this by taking an example. So here we have 73 is congruent to 4 mod 23. Now what you do is you divide 73 by 23. When you divide that, the remainder what you get is 4. Okay. So it is written as 73 is congruent to 4 mod 23. Let us take one more example. Here 21 is congruent to minus 9 mod 10. Now here 21 is congruent to minus 9 mod 10. How is this possible? When you do this, 21 is when you divide 21 by 10, what do we get? We get it as, what is the quotient? Quotient is 2. And what is the remainder? We get the remainder as 1, right? Now I can also write it as minus 10. Again, this is again set of residues. Minus 9 comes from set of residues. If I write minus 9 and plus 10, what do I get? I get it as 1. Okay. So I can write this as 21 is congruent to minus 9 mod 10, or I can also write it as congruent to 1 mod 10. Okay. So both are possible. This is also right and this is also right. Now also we note that if A is congruent to 0 mod n, then n divides A. Means what? 0 mod n means what? The remainder R will be equal to 0. Means what is the meaning of this remainder is 0 means this number, this n divides A completely. That is what is the meaning of A is congruent to 0 mod n. We'll see the properties of congruences. So congruences have the following three properties. A is congruent to B mod n if n divides A minus B. Second property is A is congruent to B mod n implies that B is also congruent to A mod n. Third property is A is congruent to B mod n and B is congruent to C mod n implies that A is also congruent to C mod n. Now let us see an example to prove these properties. So we will see an example to prove the first property, that is this one. Okay. So here is an example where 23 is congruent to 8 mod 5. Now according to the first property, A is 23 and B is 8. Right. Now according to this, if A is congruent to B mod n, then n divides A minus B. What is A? 23 and what is B? 8. So n is 5. So 5 should divide 23 minus 8. What is 23 minus 8? 23 minus 8 is 15. Okay. So 5 divides 15, right? What is the quotient? It is 3. So this satisfies the first property. Similarly, we'll check for the second example, which is again for the first property itself. Minus 11 is congruent to 5 mod 8. So minus 11 plus 5, how much does it give you? Minus 11, sorry, not plus 5, minus 11 minus 5, it is A minus B. So minus 11 minus 5 gives you minus 16. And what is n? N is 8. So minus 16 is divisible by 8. What is the quotient? Quotient is minus 2. Coming to the last one, 81 is A and B is 0. So 81 minus 0. Is it divisible by 27? Yes. What is the quotient? Quotient is 3. So this is how you prove the first property. Similarly, you can try for property number 2 and property number 3 by taking some numerical examples. Modular arithmetic exhibits following properties. So the first property is A mod n plus B mod n whole mod n is equal to A plus B mod n. So and the second property is A mod n minus B mod n the whole mod n is A minus B mod n. And the third property is A mod n into B mod n the whole of B mod n equal to A into B mod n. So let us see an example to prove these properties. So to prove this first property, we'll check this example. So according to this 11 mod 8, right? What is 11 mod 8? When we divide 11 by 8, quotient is 1 and the remainder is 3. So this gives me 3. Next 15 mod 8, that is B is 15. 15 mod 8 gives the answer 7. So this gives me 7. So 3 plus 7 is how much? 10. Okay. So 10 mod 8, how much does it give? 10 mod 8. If I divide 10 by 8, quotient is 1. What is the remainder? 2. So that completes the first part. So from this part, I get the answer as 2. Coming to this part of the property, A plus B. What is A? 11 and B is 15. So 11 plus 15 gives us 26. If I divide by 8, So what is the remainder? I get this as 2. So this is also 2. So this property is proved. Let us go to property number 2. So with the same 11 and 8, we will do this. So 11 mod 8, we know how much it is? 3. 15 mod 8, how much it is? 7. So 3 minus 7 is how much? We get it as minus 4. So I need a positive answer over here. So what do? I do minus 4 plus 8. I get it as 4. Okay. We always take positive answers here. Then 11 minus 15. How much is it? Again it is minus 4. And we add 8 to that. I get it as 4. So property 2 is also proved. Coming to the last one. Again 11 mod 8 is how much? 3 and 15 mod 8 is 7. So 3 into 7 is how much? 21. So 21 mod 8. How much do you get? What is the remainder? After we divide 21 by 8, the remainder is 5. Coming to this one, 11 into 15. How much is this? 165. So 165 divided by 8. What is the remainder? It is 5. You use your calculator to find this. It is very simple. Okay. So now both 5 and 5. So here it is same. So 3 is also proved. We will consider an example for modulo addition. So we will see how modulo 8 addition is done. So modulo 8 means the numbers are 0 to 7. So we will write 0 to 7 in row and 0 to 7 in column. So let us see the entries for 0. So 0 plus 0 is 0, 0 plus 1 is 1, 0 plus 2 is 2, 0 plus 3 is 3, 0 plus 4 is 4, 0 plus 5 is 5, 0 plus 6 is 6, 0 plus 7 is 7. So this completes the first column entry. We will see the next column. So in this next column, now we have to take 1. 1 plus 0 is 1. 1 plus 1, how much it is? 2. 1 plus 2 is 3. 1 plus 3 is 4. 1 plus 4 is 5. 1 plus 5 is 6. 1 plus 6 is 7. 1 plus 7, yes, here the entry is 0. How is that possible? It should have been 8, right? But what are we doing? We are doing a modulo addition of 8. So whenever we get more than 8, then we'll have to divide it by 8, right? Then the remainder we have to write. So when I divide 8 by 8, what is the quotient? Quotient is 1. What is the remainder? Remainder is 0. So that is the entry done over here. So let us see the next column now for 2. So when I add 2 to 0, I get 2. 2 to 1, 3. 2 and 2, 4. 2 and 3, 5. 2 and 4, 6. 2 and 5, 7. Coming to this one, 2 and 6, what is it? 8. So what is the remainder when I divide 8 by 8? It is modulo 8. Remember that. Okay. So 8 and 8 divided by 8, I get the remainder as 0. Then 7 and 2, what is it? The addition, 9. So 9 mod 8, how much is it? What is the remainder? Yes, correct, 1. Okay. So we'll see the next column entry. So here 3. 3 and 0, 3. 3 and 1, 4. 3 and 2, 5. 3 and 6, 9. Sorry, 3 and 3 it is. 3 and 3, 6. 3 and 4, 7. 3 and 5, we get 8. So, mod 8. So, 0. 3 and 6, 9. 9 mod 8, 1. 3 and 7, 10. So, 10 mod 8. What is the remainder when I divide 10 by 8? 10 by 8, quotient is 1. What is the remainder? 2. So, that you have to enter in this particular cell over here. So, let us check the next column for 4. So 4 and 0, 4. 4 and 1, 5. 4 and 2, 6. 4 plus 3, 7. 4 plus 4, 8. So 8 mod 8. The remainder is 0. 4 plus 5, 9. 9 mod 8. So when I divide 9 by 8, quotient is 1. What is the remainder? 1. Then here 4 and 6. 4 plus 6. What is this addition? 10. 10 mod 8 is how much? 10 mod 8, remainder is 2. Then 4 and 7, what is it? 11. 11 mod 8, what is the remainder? 3. So on, we can do the entries for 5. So 5 and 0 is 5, 5 and 1 is 6, 5 and 5 plus 2 is 7, 5 plus 3 is 0, 5 plus 4 is 1, 5 plus 2 is 2, 5 plus 5 is 2, 5 plus 6 is 3, 5 plus 7 is 4. So next, similarly you can check the entries for the column 6 and column 7 as well. So only point you have to remember here is it is not a direct simple addition, but it is modulo 8 addition. Okay, remember this point. Next, let us check an example for modulo 8 multiplication also now. So here there we were adding up, now here we have to multiply the corresponding cell elements, right? So we again here also it is the same way, we list out the 0 to 7 in the row and 0 to 7 in the column over here. Then so first column entry let us check. So here when 0 multiplied with any number, what do we get? We get it as a 0. Then we'll check the next. So when we multiply 1 with any number, what do we get? The same number we get, though this is the same. Coming to the third column. So 2 into 0, it is going to be 0. 2 into 1, it is going to be 2. 2 into 2 is how much? 4. 2 into 3 is how much? 6. Right? 2 into 4, 8. So 8 mod 8 is what? 0. 2 into 5, it is going to be what? 10. So 10 mod 8 is how much? 2. So 2 into 6 is how much? 12. Right? So 12 mod 8, 4. Then 2 into 7 how much? 14. 14 mod 8, what is the remainder? 6. Okay. So this is the way we have to do. So again column 3. This is also in a similar fashion. 3 into 0, 0. 3 into 1, 3. 3 2s are 6. 3 3s are 9. So 9 mod 1, 9 mod 8 is 1. 3 4s are 12. 12 mod 8 is 4. 3 5s are 15. 15 mod 8 is how much? 7. Then 3 6 are how much? 18. So 18 mod 8. 18 mod 8 is what? The quotient is 2, right? Then what is the remainder? 2. Then 7 3s are how much? 21, right? 21 mod 8 is how much? 5. So similar way you can check the entries for 4, 5, 6 and 7. So this is how modulo 8 and addition and multiplication are done. So let us see now, this is the same whatever we have done. No, previously we have seen this arithmetic modulo 8 and this is multiplication modulo 8. So after this what we do is we have additive and multiplicative inverses of modulo. Now what is this? How do we get this? This is the additive inverse and this is the multiplicative inverse, right? If it is a simple addition, what do we do? A minus A is going to be 0. If it is a simple multiplication, A into 1 by A will give you 1, right? So it means your additive inverse means whatever you add to that particular number, you should get a 0. Then multiplicative inverse means whatever you multiply with that, you should get the quotient to be, the answer to be 1. Okay. So here now which number when we add it to this 0 to 7 do we get it as 0? So we will check in this table. Now see, when I add 0 and 0 I get 0. So additive inverse of 0 is going to be 0. Now let us check for 1. Now check for 1 which particular cell we get here 0. So if I check for 1, checks here. If I check for column wise 1, when I add 1 with 7, I get 0. Right. So for 1, what is the additive inverse? 7. Because why? 1 plus 7 is how much? 8. 8 mod 8 is 0. If I check for 2 and we come across this one, 2. What is the corresponding element here? 6. So what is the additive inverse for 2? Additive inverse for 2 is 6. Next come to 3. What is the additive inverse for 3? So when I add 3 with 5, I get the answer to be 0. Again remember, this is not a normal addition. This is modulo addition. When I come to 4 and 4, what do I get? The corresponding cell entry over is 0. So additive inverse for 4 is 4. When I come to 5 and 3, the corresponding element is 0. That is 5 plus 3 is 8. So 8 mod 8 is 0. Coming to 6. For 6, what is the additive inverse? 2. For 7, what is the additive inverse? 1. So this is how we list out the additive inverses. So each and every element will have an additive inverse. But that is not the case with multiplicative inverse. All the elements will not have multiplicative inverse. Now how do we check this multiplicative inverse? Again we check this table. Okay, in this table, as I told you, what do we get? If in normal way it was, we write 1 by A, right, into A. If I say, I get this as 1, correct? No. Similarly here also I should get the answer to be 1, but it is not 1 by A here. Okay. Instead, it is mod here. Remember that we are dealing with the mod. It is not the simple operation. Mod 8 we are doing over here. Okay. This is our simple multiplication. How we get the inverses. Here we have to see the mod. So, we have to see the element here and corresponding entries we have to see where we get the entry as 1. Now for 0, see, nowhere we are going to get 1 here. If I come to 1, so 1 and 1 I get 1. So 1 into 1 is 1, right? So what is this? This is the additive inverse for multiplicative inverse for 1 is 1. If I come to 2, so 2 is this. Do I have an one entry in this particular column? Nowhere I have 1. So 2 does not have a multiplicative inverse. Coming to 3. So when I check the corresponding entries in this column, I have entry 1 for which one? For 3. So 3 into 3 is 9, right? 9 mod 8 is 1. So what is the inverse of 3? Multiplicative inverse of 3? It is 1. 4. Now when I check for 4, there is no entry of 1 over here. So 4 does not have a multiplicative inverse. 5. If I see over S, I can get a corresponding entry here. So what is the corresponding here? It is 5. Okay. So 5 into 5 is 25. 25 mod 8 is going to be remainder is 1. So what is the multiplicative inverse of 5? It is 5 itself. 6, again no entry of 1 anywhere in this particular cells or in this column. So 6 does not have a multiplicative inverse. What about 7? Yes, this last cell is 1. So what is the multiplicative inverse of 7? 7 multiplicative inverse is 7. Okay. So this is, see, if I take this concept over here, A 1 by A into A is 1. Here if 7 into 7, it is not 1, correct? No. So this concept is what? This is modular concept. That is why we get it like this. So in this particular modulo table, you have to check the entries where you have the cell entry as 1. So that corresponding elements are the multiplicative inverses of each other. Alright, am I clear with this? Okay, you can try for different modulo operations. You can try for modulo 3, modulo 4, 5, anyone. Okay, but as we go on the table, we can't manually write this big table for other numbers. So there is a different method to find multiplicative inverses that we will see later. So now let us come to the residual classes of modulo m. Let us define the set of Zn as a set of non-negative integer less than n, where Zn is 0, n up to n minus 1. This is referred to as set of residues or residue classes mod n. We can label the residue classes mod n as like this: residue class of 0, of 1, of 2, of n minus 1, where R is A. Okay, R is A, where A is an integer or that is A is congruent to R mod n. Now we will understand this with an example. So let us take the residue classes of mod 4. Now when do we get the residue? Now first, residue class of mod 4 means what are the residues what are there in mod 4? So we have the 0, we have 1, we have 2, we have 3, right? These are the residue classes. We have seen in the previous slide. It is from 0 to n minus 1. So what is n? N is 4. So n minus 1 is 3. So we have 0, 1, 2 and 3. Now when do I get a 0 residue? When do I get 0 residue? If I consider the set of numbers, I will consider here negative as well as positive number. This is mod operation. If I say 0 mod 0, okay, sorry, 0 mod 4, then what is the remainder? It is going to be 0. If I say 1 mod 4, then what is the remainder? 1. So we don't get the 0 as a residue. If I say 2 mod 4, what is a residue or remainder? It is going to be 2. So again, it is not this 0 class residue. right? Then what about 3 mod 4? I am not going to, again I will not get the remainder as 0. If I consider 4 mod 4, yes, I am going to get the remainder as 0. Similarly, if I consider 8 mod 4, I am going to get 0. 12 mod 4, I am going to get 0. 16 mod 4, I am going to get 0. Similarly, the negative way, minus 4, minus 8, minus 12, minus 16. So, this is corresponding to 0. Next, if I consider 1, when do I get 1 as a remainder? If I take 1 mod 4, I will get 1. If I take 5 mod 4, I will going to get 1 as a remainder. If I take 9 mod 4, what is it? I am going to get 1 as a remainder. 13 mod 4, 17 mod 4. Also, if I take the negative numbers minus 3, minus 7, minus 11, minus 15. These are the things where I am going to get 1 as the residue, right? I hope you have understood this concept. Okay. See how minus here. See minus 3 mod 4. How much is it? It is going to be minus 3 is the answer. But I have to take this always the remainder is positive. So minus 3 plus 4 I have to do. I'll get it as plus 1. Again, if I take minus 7 mod 4. Minus 7 mod 4. What is the answer? I'll get quotient as 1. What is the remainder? Remainder is minus 3. So minus 3 plus 4. So what do I get the remainder as? 1. Again, consider minus 11. So minus 11 mod 4. What are we going to get? Minus 11 mod 4. What is the remainder? Minus 11. When I divide, what do you get? What is the remainder? See, what is the quotient? Quotient is 2. So what is the remainder? Again, you are going to get it as minus 3. Correct. So minus 3 and you have to add 4. So we get a positive number. So here whenever we are going to get a positive 1 here, right? Minus 15 also in similar way. Now 2, when are we going to get 2 as a remainder? If I consider it as 2 mod 4, 6 mod 4, 10 mod 4, 14 mod 4, 18 mod 4. Similarly, negative minus 2 mod 4, minus 6 mod 4. Again here minus 6 mod 4, right? Minus 6. What is the answer? It should be minus 2, correct? No, we get it as minus 2. But minus 2 plus 4, what do we get? Plus 2. Similarly, here minus 10. So what do we get? Answer is minus 2 again here, right? Minus 8. Minus 8. So what is remaining? Minus 2 will remain. Of that minus 2, I have to add 4. So I get it as plus 2. Alright. This is how you get to. Similarly, for the last residue class, that is of mod 4 is 3. So 3 mod 8, 7 mod 8, 11 mod 8, 15 mod 8, 19 mod 8. Similarly, minus 1 mod 8, minus 5 mod 8, minus 9 mod 8, minus 13 mod 8. This is how you find the residue classes of a particular modulus. So for all the integers in a residue class, the smallest non-negative integer is the one used to represent the residue class. Okay, this is how you represent the residue class. The smallest non-negative integer is going to be taken to represent the residue class. I hope this concept is clear. Next, we will see the properties of modular arithmetic for integers in Zn. So there are 5 properties what you have listed out over here. The first one is the commutative laws. What is this commutative law? W plus x of mod n is x plus w of mod n, and w into x of mod n is x into w of mod n. What is associative laws? W plus x plus y mod n is w plus x plus y mod n. What about the next one? W into x into y mod n is w into x into y of mod n. Then comes the distributive law, that is w into x plus y mod n is w into x plus w into y of mod n. Identities. So 0 plus w mod n will be w mod n. 1 into w mod n is w mod n. This additive inverse, that is minus w. For each w belongs to Zn, there exists a z such that w plus z is 0 mod n. Okay. So for each w belonging to Zn, there exists a z such that w plus z is 0 mod n. This is additive inverse. We have seen in the previous example, no, when we saw that modular addition. So each and every element had a additive inverse, but it is not the case with the multiplicative inverse. Multiplicative inverse does not exist for all the elements. We have used Euclidean algorithm to calculate GCD of two numbers. Now, let us see where else this Euclidean algorithm can be used. It is useful for later computations in the area of finite fields and in encryption algorithms such as RSA. RSA we are going to learn in detail later on. For given integers a and b, the extended Euclidean algorithm not only calculates the GCD, but it also calculates two additional integers x and y such that they satisfy the following equation: ax plus by equal to d, which is the GCD of a comma b. These x and y are opposite in signs. Let us see how to extend the Euclidean algorithm to determine x, y and d given a and b. We again go through the sequence of divisions as in Euclidean algorithm, and at each step we find x and y that satisfy the equation this r equal to axi plus byi. That is a generalized equation. So at the end we get the value of x and y along with the GCD of the number. This will be evident by taking an example. Okay, so let us solve an example and understand the concept in a better way. So let me consider an example where a is 42 and b is 30. Now what you have to do to find the, so first let us write the expression with x and y. So it is ax plus by is equal to d. That is the expression. So I write it as 42x plus 30y is equal to d. Okay, 42 is a, b is 30 and d is the GCD. So first let us write. So first what is the first step? We know that using Euclidean algorithm first you have to find GCD. So when I find GCD, I have to divide 42 by 30. So when I divide 42 by 30, I get the quotient as 1, right? And what is the remainder? 12. So for the next stage, I don't get a 0 remainder, so I have to go further. So further stage, what is the two numbers? I have to take now 30 and 12, right? For the next stage. But before that, at every stage, I have to write it in this form. Okay, what is this form? We wrote it as, in the previous slide we have seen, right? It is r is equal to a xi plus b yi, this form. Okay, this is a generalized form, so that we write here. So what is r here is 12. 12 is equal to 42 into 1, that is a 42. What is xi? That is from here. So 42 minus 1 into 30. I shifted this way. So the same thing, this itself, I just reorder it and write it in like this. Okay. Next, coming to the next stage, where what do we take? We take the next step for finding the GCD, where I have to take 30 and 12. So when I divide 30 by 12, I get the quotient as 2. And what is the remainder? 6. So for the next stage, what are the two digits I have to take? I have to take 12 and 6. But before that, what we have to write? Again, we have to write in this form r. So what is it? 6 equal to 30 minus 2 into 12. Okay, so 6 equal to 30 into 1. Okay, there's nothing, so I write it as into 1 minus 2 into 12. But finally what I want it in this form, right? I want it in 42x plus 30y form. So I have to retain that in this form itself. So I'll do the substitution. When I do, see, I know 30 is b, so this I need, correct? But I don't need this 12. But I know what is 12 in terms of ax and by, correct. So I'll substitute. What is 12? 42 into 1 minus 30 into 1. So I'll substitute this in this particular equation. So I get this. Let me further simplify that. So I get it like this. Okay. You just open up the brackets, you get it in this form. So further simplifying, what do we get? 30 into 1 plus 2 minus 42 into 2. Let me just write it like this. So I get it as 30 into 3 minus 42 into 2. See, now this is of which form? This is of the form ax plus by, that is minus ax plus by. We have already mentioned previously that x and y are negative, are opposite in signs to each other. Okay, that is evident over here. So this is what we get. Right. So 6 equal to 42 into minus 2 plus 30 into 3. Now let us come back to the GCD part of calculation. So what is the next part? I have to take now 12 and 6. Correct. So what do I write? 12 is equal to divide by 6. What do I get? Divide by it completely divides 12. So 2 into 6. Now what is the remainder? It is 0. When I get the remainder as 0, what is the GCD? This becomes the GCD, right? This is the GCD. So what is the GCD now of 42 and 30? It is 6. So we stop at this particular step. And even the equations here. What is the equation we wrote? 42x plus 30y equal to D. Now that also is satisfied over here. This is D and this is A, right? And this is B. So what is this? This is x and this is y. Okay. So we got the answer for x is minus 2 and y as 3. So this is how we extend the Euclidean algorithm to find the other two values, that is x and y. In case if these two numbers were relatively prime means what? Their factor should have been only 1, but here GCD should be 1, but the GCD is 6. So these are not relatively prime. If they are relatively prime, then among this one of them is the inverse. Okay, that we will see later with an example. So that is all for today's lecture. Thank you.